been a busy week or two for Borough when it comes to incomings in the transfer window, but all of a sudden, there seems to be a lot of players going out as well. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel and another video here discussing all things Borough. And of course, once again, it's dominated by transfer incomings and outgoings, because last week we had a flurry of incomings at the end of the week with Ryan Giles and Morgan Whittaker joining the club, followed by George Edmundson coming to Borough, joining on a permanent deal as well, which was rumoured to happen at the time. But this week, it seems like we are having a number of outgoings, in fact, making room for hopefully players that are coming in to replace them and players that seemingly are being used as upgrades, to be honest with you. I honestly thought this transfer window would be a quiet one, and if we could make moves here or there, we would, but with a squad that was near enough fully registered, I didn't expect that much to happen. But there's almost been a mini overhaul at Borough in January, almost like there's been a level of ruthlessness about the club to say, you know, wherever we are, whether we're happy or we're not, we know our goals, we know what we want, what we want to achieve, and there are players that are not good enough and won't be here, and players who we're going to bring in. So a much more busy and ruthless and active transfer window so far for Borough, and trust me, there's a lot more to come in what is just under a week until deadline day. So as I mentioned, the two big moves really were Giles and Whittaker. We have addressed them both on the channel in their own separate videos, so go and check them out if you haven't already. The big incoming since then, of course, was the return of George Edmundson, and I say return as in he wasn't gone all that long. He has come back on a permanent deal. Obviously, there was a bit of toing and froing between us and Ipswich. Ipswich were trying to fiddle more money out of Borough, putting the player's season at risk with him being unable to play for any other club this season. And I wasn't desperate for Borough to bring back George Edmundson. I mean, knowing what's happened with Clarke, I'm now glad we have, but I just didn't want us to bow down to Ipswich's demands. But in the end, it looks like a deal was struck, and a good one at that, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. I still am not 100% on George Edmundson being a starting centre-back for a promotion-chasing side. I do feel like Fry and Rav are slightly better, and Edmundson has an error or two in there when it comes to playing the ball out from the back. But as a defender, first and foremost, I think he's very, very good. And it was mentioned by Dumshaw on the Echo that negotiations between the two clubs continued after Ipswich recalled him just before our midweek game against West Brom a week ago from time of recording. Reports at the Ipswich end claim Borough will pay an initial fee of £500,000 plus some potential add-ons. Edmundson is set to sign a 2.5-year contract. Returning to the Riverside on a permanent basis will delight the defender, who instantly settled on Teesside after joining on loan at the start of the season. So again, as I say, happy with this one. I thought it was going to happen. I was pretty confident Borough would go back in for Edmundson. It was unfair what Ipswich did in the position they put him in, but he's been okay for us. In fact, he's been very good up until the last couple of games, and although I don't think he'll start, he'll certainly be a very useful member of the squad. So I'm delighted for him because his season continues as it was, and I'm hoping he'll get back to his top form at the club. In terms of other incomings, there was one other. Borough signed a youngster from Eastbourne Borough. Very highly rated Brayden Johnson has joined Borough's under-21s. So he's jumping straight into the development system. So again, Borough looking ahead and signing players for the future, which is always a good thing. And then there's the other big business which has happened. There are other deals that have happened, and there's plenty more that look likely. But in terms of concrete deals that have happened, a lot of them have been outgoings since then. A shock to some, but not a shock to me, was that Clarke has left in the last day or so. He's gone back to Derby County, and a lot of Borough fans are upset to see him go, and I can get it. I understand why. I thought Clarke was a top defender for us. He was probably our player of the month in August at the very, very start of the season, but I heard rumours and whispers a month or two ago that he wasn't happy with his playing time, and paired that up with a couple of things that you were seeing on the pitch. George Edmundson, a lone player, was coming in and playing over Clarke. Dale Fry comes straight back in after a long injury and was in ahead of him. Same with Rav Vandenberg. So it was obvious for whatever reason, even though I think Clarke, like Edmundson, is a very good defender. He gives us good balance with him being left-footed. I I thought it was obvious to see that Clarke didn't fancy him and he was fourth choice for whatever reason. And with Boro having such a great, embarrassment of riches at centre-back, Clarke probably thought he could walk into any other team and start. And that's exactly what has happened. He made it clear he wanted to leave. And for me, if you want to leave, there's the door. No hard feelings. It's best for both parties. And that's what's kind of happened here. So as we thought, Matt Clarke was happy to leave. He wanted to leave for playing time. And mentioned in the Northern Echo, he's joined Derby on a deal until the end of the season, which has been described as an undisclosed agreement. So I don't know if they can't quite afford the full deal yet, the full fee. They're just getting him there on a sort of temporary basis until the summer, and they'll try and then maybe make the deal more concrete. I really don't know, but it's obvious Clarke wanted out, and Derby, being a former club where he's done really well in the past, decided to take him back, and by the sounds of it, Clarke jumped at the opportunity to go back to Pride Park. It does mention in the article that he's fallen down the pecking order, with Rav and Fry coming back, Edmundson's return, etc. He also alluded to the fact that he didn't like the situation where he was in and around the squad but not playing as many minutes as he'd like, and was looking to get out there and get some game time. So no surprise there. It is a shame to see Matt Clarke go. It was one I was more so expecting in the summer than now. But I wish him all the best at Derby. I hope he gets the playing time that he wants. And, I'll get on to Borough's squad at the end, but I do hope we replace him and get another centre-back in. Another quick deal to mention that is done and dusted is that Micah Hamilton has gone out on loan. He's gone to Stockport County in League One. This was a deal I wasn't expecting to happen, actually. Not too long previously, I recall Clarke actually saying that he's happy with Micah and he wants him to stay around the squad and he'll benefit by being around the group. And I can see the reasoning for that. Clarke's a good coach. He's very good at improving young players. So I wasn't surprised to see him opt to keep Hamilton around. But my personal preference was that the guy needed game time. He's a young kid. This is his first move in professional football. He's struggled to really settle and adapt to the level of the Championship. So I think it's only fair that he drops down and tries to get somewhere like Stockport where he'll get plenty of game time. The level's a little bit less. And hopefully that's where he can find his game, his confidence, and start to really improve and settle in the men's game, you could say, in senior football. And then he can come back a better player for Boro, and hopefully we can go from there. So I think this is definitely the right move for Micah Hamilton. I'm happy he's got the move. I'm happy Boro have sanctioned it. And I really hope he'll thrive there. Now, moving back to deals that are pending and are likely to happen or rumoured to happen, because there are still quite a few. And we'll go back to Derby County, because Matt Clarke is not the only player that they're looking to sign this month. Another is Dan Barlaser. Now, this is what I meant at the start when I said Boro are maybe being ruthless and are just showing the door to some players who they've looked at throughout the season and thought, yeah, we can upgrade you. And Barlaser looks to be one of them players. There were rumours in the summer he might have had interest from Turkey. Didn't materialise then. It's probably been a good thing because Howson's been injured, Morris was injured, so Barlaser was required at a very busy part of the season. But it looks like the club are willing to let him go now, which I think and what I hope means we're confident that we've got a midfielder coming in the other way. Derby again are interested, and this again is absolutely no surprise. I mentioned Matt Clarke's previous affiliation with Derby County and the great spell he had there previous. It's the same with Barlaser, except with their manager, Paul Warne. We signed him from Rotherham, of course, where he was absolutely outstanding, and Paul Warne got the best out of him, which has never quite materialised at Boro for Dan Barlaser. I just don't think he has the strength, the athleticism. He's not sharp enough to play in Boro's very high, intense midfield pair and midfield system. It's just never quite fit for me, and I'm not surprised to see that Boro looking to move him on. It's not Barlaser's fault. I think he is a good footballer when he's played in the right team in the right way. That's just not at Boro, I'm afraid. And I think just with the criticism he's getting, things are only sort of getting worse for him the more he plays, if I'm honest. So I think it's best for both parties that he moves on and finds his feet somewhere else, maybe at a team like Derby, where he can be the main man, have more of an influence in the midfield, and continue his career there. But I say Paul Warne was the manager at Rotherham, now the manager at Derby, has history with Dan Barlaser, so I think that's a reunion they'd be delighted to see come back together. So fingers crossed that happens for Dan, but only if we get someone in. And the name I mentioned last week is still the name that's getting thrown around. Glenn Kamara from France is still getting touted as a link Boro are pursuing. It does mention in the Echo that he is one of the players in their thinking, but isn't the only potential target, when I previously thought he was. So although we've not heard any other midfield names. Apparently there are others possibly in the works. Kamara would be a good shout. As we've said, we need to bring in a more defensively suited midfielder, more like Aidan Morris. I think that's what Borough's midfield needs. So if we can swap Barlaser with Kamara, that's another fantastic upgrade for Borough. Another deal that is now very, very likely, and it's only become apparent today on Tuesday that this is looking likely, and this for me is the one. Listen, Giles back in a Borough shirt, fantastic. Love seeing it. Whittaker statement signing, delighted the club got that one done. But for me, out of all the players we've been linked with, the one signing I've wanted the most is Mark Travers from Bournemouth, and it looks like it's happening. It sounds like a deal's agreed. It's a straight loan, no obligation to buy at this point, unfortunately for us, but we'll see where it goes. If he gets us to where we want to be, maybe we'll look to buy him in the summer. I think if we don't go up, he'll probably go back to Bournemouth. It sounds like it's all about playing time with Mark Travers at this moment, but a medical is apparently due to take place in the next day or two, and we should hopefully have a deal agreed by the end of the week, and we'll see him in a Borough shirt, and this is the one. You know, listen, Borough are doing great work across all departments, and I'll show the squad depth graphic at the end, and I think we're upgrading a lot. We're upgrading in midfield, hopefully, upgraded in the attacking areas with Whittaker, but goalkeeper is a huge, huge area of weakness for Borough. Our goals prevented numbers are the worst in the league. The save percentage is also up there with the worst in the league. Borough's goalkeeping problem has been one that has let us down massively. On top of the fact, we don't have any fit goalkeepers all of a sudden. We only have Tom Glover. So this is a crucial signing in so many ways, and it's happening. Mentioned again in the Echo, a major boost for Borough, who prioritised the capture of a goalkeeper in the final week of the window following serious injuries to Sol Bryn, who of course has a dislocated shoulder. It has also come out in the last week that Seny Dieng has had an operation on, I think, his ACL, it might be. Again, heard whispers midway through last week that he'd injured himself playing head tennis of all bloody things. Typical Borough. But Seny Dieng is going to be out now for at least the season, maybe even longer. So Mark Travers is the one. A top target, absolutely. We've had to wait until the final week of the window, which normally happens with loan signings from the Premier League. There's also been an injury on Bournemouth's side with their third choice goalkeeper, which has complicated things a little bit. But Mark Travers is a goalkeeper who I think will save us points. He'll be finally a goalkeeper who we can rely on. The first one for nearly 2 years now. And he was a promotion-winning goalkeeper for Bournemouth a few seasons back. So for me, this is the big one. This is the deal I wanted doing out of the lot. And it said in the Echo we got the green light on Tuesday night and that he was heading to the north to complete the move. Again, loan to the end of the season. And he's a four-time Ireland international, played 70 games for Bournemouth, had a short, impressive loan spell at Stoke. He has played 5 times in the Premier League this season as well. So this is going to be one I will be making a video on and one I'm over the moon to see happening. Another deal that's a little bit up in the air all of a sudden is Emmanuel Latte to Atlanta. Now, I'll be honest, I have no idea what's going to happen here. When he first went off injured at the weekend with a groin injury, to which we still don't know the severity of, I thought maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. He's going to stay a Borough player. If his injury is severe, that could scupper the Atlanta move, which already has stalled weirdly. I've seen a few reports that even though a deal's agreed in principle and the weight is basically on Borough signing a replacement striker, it sounds like we've got that in place as well with someone we've been linked with. So I don't know what's holding up the Lath deal if we've got a striker ready to come in. There are links to a striker who I'll get into in a moment, but I've also saw reports that Lath's not actually that keen on a move to America, and I can completely understand that. I don't see the MLS as a significant step up for Lath, and with the Premier League interest we've heard of over recent months, I don't see why they're holding out to get him a Premier League move. I don't see why his agent would rush him to the MLS just for a big payday and a higher wage, when I don't think it's actually worth it for his career. So I don't get why he's not holding out for a Premier League move. That might be still what they're waiting on. That still might happen, but if the Atlanta deal was if it was all good and happy and in place, why has it not gone through yet? That's what I do not get. So whether his injury plays a part, again, we don't know how severe it is. The fact this deal hasn't gone through yet, I find a little bit strange. I don't know if it's a hold up on our side, Atlanta's side, or Lath just not wanting to go himself. But Clarke's been quoted in saying, the closer it gets to the deadline, the harder this deal will become. So for me, I'd love to see Borough stick a date on this deal and say to Atlanta, we go past the 30th of January, it ain't happening. He's not going anywhere, because Borough need clarity. We need clarity. We need to know what's going on with Latte, because it's getting more and more tight to the deadline, and it'll be harder for Borough to bring in a replacement if he leaves at the last minute. So again, I hope this deal gets done sooner rather than later, but at the minute, it doesn't seem to be going anywhere. So as far as things stand, Latte looks like he's staying. But if he doesn't, there is a striker Borough have been linked with this week, and I'm not going to pretend to know a single thing about him, but Daniel Strelec has been linked. He's a striker from Slavin Bratislava, I believe it is, and I think they play in his hometown country of Slovakia. So I'm not going to pretend to know a single goddamn thing about this player. I will just put my faith in Borough's recruitment team that if Lath leaves, this is the striker we're going after, then I hope we'll have the same positive effect. You know, I wasn't a big fan of Lath. Well, I wouldn't say I wasn't a big fan. I wasn't overly that excited by Lath when he joined. He's ended up being fantastic. So I've got faith in the recruitment team that if we do bring him in, and this is the striker in place of Lath, that hopefully it will come good. But that's all we know right now. You know, in the Echo, it was reported that we've had to prepare for the possibility of losing Lath, as we know, and Strelec is understood to be one of the players who's been closely monitored, but he isn't the only striker on Borough's radar as the club plan for the possibility of having to act if Lath leaves. It is a very, very tense, delicate situation, and one that might change massively as the days go by. So this is one to keep an eye on. And finally, another few little details and reports that have come out of the world of Borough this week. Another is Lukas Engel. There are links and reports suggesting he's going to be off to FC Cincinnati. This was another thing I saw last week on a forum that has come true. And it's been reported that Danish sources have said that he will join MLS side FC Cincinnati on an initial loan with an option to buy. And it does come down to Borough completing the signing of Ryan Giles, of course, putting Engel down to third behind Giles and Borges. No surprise here, I mentioned in the Giles video I did, if there was one left back who was going to go in place of Giles, it would be Lukas Engel. That looks like it's going to happen, and I'd be happy for him. You know, it's just not worked at Borough for Lukas Engel. He's struggled defensively and not really offered us anything going forwards, unfortunately. So the Engel and Giles deals seem similar. Both are loans, and I think unless the Giles deal fails miserably, if we activate the deal to sign Giles, then we'll sanction the deal to sell Engel. One will happen with the other in sync, parallel to one another. If they don't happen, then Engel will come back. So I think Borough are in a position where they can just see what happens with Giles. And if all goes well, Engel will be in the MLS next season. And the final other rumour that we'll discuss today, it's a quick rumour, and it's just that Josh Coburn apparently is likely, or Millwall are likely or looking to sign Josh Coburn on a full-time basis, a permanent basis. Again, no surprise here. You know, Josh Coburn has done pretty well for Borough in his short career here so far, but I do think Millwall are a better suited side for his profile, their style of play, etc., etc., and I would love him to go on there and have a successful career. His time so far has been scuppered with unfortunate injuries, but for me, I think he could really thrive there, and if the right price comes up, I'd be more than happy to see Borough sell Josh Coburn onto Millwall, as I think that would be a perfect fit for him. So finishing up then, this is a graphic I've created on screen which shows Borough's squad depth. It's the same graphic I used with a video I did not too long ago looking at who Borough should sign. And basically, the players who are likely to maybe leave are greyed out. I've added a few of the players in who have joined or are going to join, just to give people an idea of what we're looking like currently. Now, I'll put Travers in there because it sounds like it's going to be a done deal. He's now the first choice goalkeeper for me. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dieng leave, or maybe not now he's injured, I don't know. I would have thought he'd left, but Borough now have 4 goalkeepers, so one I think will leave at some point, or maybe we'll just see where we're at the end of the season. If we don't go up, Travers will leave and we're back with the 3 we had before. I don't know, but I'm delighted he's in. What I will say though, upgrade on the left-hand side, Giles for Engel, upgrade there, great job by Borough. But as I said, we need another centre-back for me, because Darrell Lenihan sounds like he's out long-term again, and I just don't trust Borough's fitness that we are going to survive with only 3 fit centre-halves. You know, we had 4 at the start of the window. We've lost Clarke and essentially just retained Edmundson. So we are a centre-back down. So for me, I think we need to get another one. And there's no reports of a replacement centre-back yet. So unless we're relying on Lenihan getting back sooner than expected, Fry, Rav and Edmundson, them three alone don't fill me with enough confidence that they'll all stay fit. So I would like us to reassure that position with another centre-back, if possible. Doesn't sound likely at this moment, unfortunately. Nothing happening at right-back. That's one of the very few quiet areas of the team this month. And I'm hoping in midfield, with Barlaser maybe out the door, we'll replace him with Kamara. As I said, that would be another upgrade and one that I think will help the balance of Borough's midfield. So we'll see what happens there. In the midfield three, you'll notice Alex Gilbert's name is greyed out as well. Another report I forgot to mention is that Borough have said they might let him go on loan. There's reports to say that we would be open to possibly allowing Gilbert out on loan, but no clubs have been linked other than Swansea, I think, at some point. So we'll see what happens there. But with Morgan Whittaker, I don't know where he'll play. I'm not certain he'll play on the left. It might be on the right or through the middle. I think they've got to try and squeeze him and Azaz into the same team. So that's why I've put Azaz as an option on the left-hand side. But that puzzle is one I just don't know how Carrick's going to fill that. So I've just put him in there and I just assumed he'll play in one of them positions. But he's certainly, again, been an upgrade on Isaiah Jones. So Borough have done well there as well. And then up front, the big doubt, of course, is around Latte. That's the only big area which I'm a little worried about at the moment. If he goes, can we get a replacement in and how good will the replacement be? I would love it if Lath just stayed completely and we could just crack on as we were before. But yeah, overall, left back upgraded, goalkeeper upgraded, midfield hopefully going to be upgraded, attack upgraded, striker and centre back. They're the areas that I'm a little concerned about. And hopefully Glenn Kamara comes in for Barlaser because, again, upgrade there. So far, Borough's January, I think, has been very good. I think it's been very good, a lot more active. We've upgraded in a lot of areas. Again, there's a real sign of intent there, I think, that we're really, really pushing for it. And we're doubling down on trying to get ourselves up this season. And fair play, Steve Gibson has backed the manager again. Scott's got the business done again. There's no excuses for Michael Carrick for me with what we're doing off the pitch, how we're continuing to improve the side. Absolutely no excuses for Michael Carrick. There weren't before. There's none now with the work, the work that's getting done and the players he's been given this month. No excuses whatsoever. So let me know your thoughts on this roundup of Borough's transfer news. There's a lot to get through. I appreciate it's been a longer video and there'll be plenty more as well. But this time next week, it will be deadline day on the Monday. It will have passed, so this time next week I'll be back with a review, you could say, of Borough's overall January and any late deals that get done, because I have a feeling we are far from done yet. So leave me a comment below with your thoughts on the incomings, the outgoings, and any other players you'd like to see come in, as well as like the video if you've enjoyed it and you want to see more, and subscribe so you can see these videos drop in your subscription feed when they do. And as for Borough content, I'll be back later this week to preview the big one, Borough versus Sunderland on Monday night. That's going to be a preview and a half. So if you want to see my predictions and preview for that, subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you all in the next one.